Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and we're back out here in the garage for another First Impressions video. And before I get into talking about the guns that I took to the range today and shot, because I did spend some time on the longer distance range with both of these guns, and one of them at the 25-yard range as well, I want to remind you and give the caveat that this is not the place that I post my official reviews. This is not an official review. It's just my first impressions from coming back to the range. And if you've never seen me or my channel before, this is my behind the scenes channel. And my main channel is the Texas Gun Vault. There's a link in the description below. You can go see all of my properly edited reviews. This is just a channel where I talk with my biggest fans, kind of behind the scenes, and kind of share off the cuff experiences. Whether that be about guns or talk about politics or whatever's on my mind, just how to run the channel, you name it. So I went to the range today, literally just got back into the garage, and I was able to take two guns to the range today to film some content. And the first one we've already talked a little bit about in the past, and that is going to be the Ruger SFAR. And essentially this is a 308 inside of an AR-15 body. So it's not an AR-10. This is a AR-15 essentially. The size of the receiver, the upper, the handguard, all this, a lot of it is kind of AR-15 specs. We do have a larger magwell because it does take 308. And I guess the other company that makes a rifle kind of like this is POF. But a lot of people say this is the cheaper alternative to that rifle. And it appears that a lot of reviewers seem to have issues with this gun. And I've seen some of the reviewers also talk about the best upgrades for this gun. I think in general, the way that I'm reviewing this is pretty close to stock. The way it comes from Ruger, which I think is the best way to review it. And I've had some mixed results as well with it. I mentioned in my last First Impressions video where I took this to the shorter range, I had some reliability issues, especially around the 4th or 5th round in a magazine. I would get stovepiping. I would have just weird malfunctions. The gun hits a little bit harder than maybe I would really want it to, but it is a lighter gun. I did save some of the spent brass from the range, and I wanted to show you what this gun is doing to it. And when it ejects from this gun, it's pretty darn hard and fast. Let me see, which one's the worst? Okay, well, here's two. So I saved these because this is damage that is being caused from the rifle and not because it's hitting the side of the range or anything like that. So this is how the brass is deforming as it's coming out of the ejection port. So I'm collecting this immediately after. This one I collected today at the longer distance range. This one was from the shorter distance range. And as you can see, it is deforming the brass. So I don't know if that is because of the pressures inside or the mechanics of it. It's pretty bad. In fact, take a look at this. Right, see if I can get that in focus. There it is. Take a look at that. So I saved this because I wanted it for the range report. And as you can see, that is a weird deformation. And I had a number of rounds that came out of the gun like this. Now, when I took it to the longer distance range today, I only loaded the magazines to 5 rounds apiece because I was just testing the accuracy more than anything. And today I did not have any reliability issues, but I wasn't expecting to because all of the issues I had with this when it came to the reliability were with full magazines. So let's talk about accuracy. I used 3 different types of ammunition that I was able to take to the range. 2 of them are mine, and then one of them is ammunition that was provided by the owner of this rifle, Richard, and he said it's the best ammunition for this. Everybody says this is what you got to run in it. So for testing it at 25 and 50 yards, I used this stuff here. I guess it's MKE ZQ ammunition. It's supposed to be M80 is what it is. So I was using this, and a lot of people say M80 works okay in this rifle. It's not the best, but you get decent accuracy. And it is, what does it say it is here? 147 grain, full metal jacket. So at 25 and 50 yards, it was pretty good. I would say using this optic here, I was able to get about this, which I know is not super great, but I also noticed this gun was not a tack driver even at the 25-yard range. But for me, as a defensive carbine in 308, perfectly fine. When I went out to 75 yards, we used, this is PPU Rangemaster line, and what's the grains on this? 145 grain. So I used this at 75 yards, and the group definitely opened up. Not bad. It was still pretty good, but it opened up a little bit, and I could tell this was not going to be the best overall. So I forgot what people say the best grains, different issues they have with it is for this rifle, but it cycled fine. The projectile stabilized, but the group opened up, and I kind of felt like one or two of the rounds were kind of flyers. Not bad. I would say at 75 yards, the group was probably this, which is still not great, but it worked. It was fine. It would run. But then everybody says the best ammunition for this is this Federal Fusion 165 grain, and this is the stuff that was provided by Richard. And he said, when you review this, especially for accuracy, you have to use this stuff. So he gave me like 12 or 15 rounds of this. And so I saved this for the 100-yard range, or the distance, and he's absolutely 100% correct. It's amazing how ammo sensitive this gun is, not from a reliability standpoint, but from a accuracy standpoint, even at just 100 yards and less. The difference between these three ammos is night and day. I mean, as I said, these two were okay. The M80 was definitely better than this, but at 100 yards, the group with this stuff was great. It was so consistent, and it's obvious this is probably going to be some of the best stuff for this gun. So I think one of the downsides to this is, although it is accurate, it's ammo sensitive. And that also seems to be in line with what other reviewers are saying. So you have to use a very specific grain weight to get its optimal performance. And that might not be good for everybody, because I think people that are going to buy this rifle, they might be on, I'm not going to say a budget because it's an expensive rifle, but they're looking for a more affordable alternative to the POF rifle that is really expensive. And so if you're buying this, you're probably not going to drop top dollar on having the best ammunition all the time. You'll probably have a few boxes of the good stuff, but most likely, and I think what most shooters do, we all have our range ammo. You're going to pick up whatever you can that might be on sale, and you're going to buy stuff like this. And the performance with this rifle is, I said, kind of night and day. It works, it runs, but the groups are vastly different. And once you run that, was it 165, I think I said? Yeah, the 165 grain. It's a game changer. Man, at 100 yards, it was like that. And this optic's not even that powerful. And it was like, okay, well, obviously that's what this gun likes. So my experience today at the longer distance range was very positive with this gun. It works. It's not a tack driver. It's a defensive carbine. But I like it a little bit more now than I did when I did kind of the first shots with it at the 25-yard range, kind of shooting it offhand, no reliability issues. It still might not be the rifle for me. I definitely think it's a cool concept, and I like the engineering that has gone into it. So that was my experiences with the Ruger SFAR. All right, so now let's talk about this. And this is going to be more of a product review, because we're not going to really review the gun itself, because the lower receiver isn't a SIG. This is a Radian lower. But what we are going to be reviewing is the SIG, I guess it's the MCX-SURG upper, okay? So, and I guess I was kind of raked over the coals by somebody in my last video where I talked about this and the upcoming projects. And man, people can be so mean, I had just picked this up from the person that lent it to the channel, which, by the way, thank you so much, Dee, as always. I do appreciate it, and of course, all the paperwork that you fill out to help me review this. But I had kind of mentioned just the basic stuff I had heard. I hadn't done a lot of research on it, and I had heard that these uppers are mainly designed to be kind of an upgraded retrofit of old M16 and M4 lowers in the military. That's their sole purpose, to kind of get them more in line with the Sig MCX Spear type of firearms that the military is adopting. And I had heard that these do not fit on modern MCX lowers. That's what I heard. I hadn't tested it or anything. I haven't I just kind of mentioned that in passing. And somebody was so, "You're an idiot. How dare you? You need to go do your research. I'm not going to watch this channel. How can you say something to be so misinformed?" It's like, damn, in all caps. And yeah, I just banned them and things, but damn. So I don't know. But it's my understanding these uppers are truly designed to be used with M4 and M16 lowers without the military needing to buy all new SIG lowers and MCX lowers. So they also provide a kit where you can add essentially what looks like an MCX rear to a lower receiver. And I'm not sure if it's sold with the upper or if it comes as a separate kit. And that seems to work. It looks attractive. It seems to be secure. The stock is pretty nice. It's a little bit on the tiny side, but I think if you're going for kind of a minimalist approach, it's fine. But the upper itself is kind of big and heavy, so I kind of wish the stock was a little bit more substantial, and the length of pull is not all that great, but it works. And of course it is SIG branded, so I know it comes from them, and the stock is folding. But let's talk about the upper receiver. Now, I kept it with this really weird kind of cage or guard over the suppressor because I kind of wanted to review it the way it came. So let me tell you what my experiences with this gun are, or this upper really. So I did not test the trigger or any of that, okay? So I'm kind of reviewing it half and half as an upper receiver and how it performs, and half as a suppressor and how it performs. So let's go over all this, okay? This gun, or this upper receiver, is exceptionally soft shooting. So I ran the entire review with the gas setting in its most closed setting, because I kind of felt if I started off with it as, being closed off, if it ran great, there's no need to go to the more open one, which I guess is designed for more adverse conditions. So if it's going to run on the one that's more closed off, it's going to run on the more open one. And lo and behold, my first shots with this were very eye-opening. It ran great, strong ejections, extremely soft recoiling, and the tone of this suppressor that they have on this upper receiver is very quiet. It's a very nice suppressor for 5.56. It honestly kind of surprised me. Only once or twice did I get any type of flash out of the end, but I was very impressed with the tone of this suppressor. It sounded really good, and that 5.56 is a difficult caliber to really suppress because there's no subsonic loadings for, well, I guess you can have a subsonic loading, but it's not going to cycle in an AR-15. It's just a weird caliber to suppress. And this can does an amazing job of giving you a good tone and good suppression. There is, because it's a piston gun, I never felt any gas or any blowback through the firearm. So it was a very pleasurable experience from that perspective. It is also really accurate. And I knew from the first magazine, I was like, okay, well, it was shooting a little bit low, because I had to zero the red dot, but I wanted to zero this red dot, this aim point for 25 to 50 yards essentially. So at close-up distances, it's going to be off. But the group was exceptionally tight, and I love how low recoil it is. And then I shot it at a further distance, and then I shot it fast. I also got this thing hot. I did a couple mag dumps with it, and what I wanted to see was this cage, which I'm assuming is designed to protect the shooter or other people from getting burned by it, because it's supposed to be suppressed all the time. You can take this off with a few screws that are here on the front, So I did a few mag dumps with it at the end of shooting it at the shorter distance range. I could tell the suppressor was really hot, but I did film myself touching this when it was really hot, and it was pretty warm. It was pretty warm, but I was able to put my hand on it and keep it on it and kind of do this a few times, and it was not burning my hand. And I could tell underneath, I could feel the heat radiating from that suppressor. It was like really hot. But this cage, this whatever this is called, it does an amazing job. It does an amazing job, and I'm very impressed with that. So I could see the practical application of this and making suppressors much safer in the battlefield and for our troops. And it seems to be very durable, and obviously you can take it off so it could be replaced. I'm very impressed with that. So I'm impressed with the gas settings, the way it just runs. I'm impressed with its recoil. I'm impressed with the suppressor's tone and its accuracy. The only issue I really have with this at all, especially if you're going to shoot it in like a CQB type of scenario, is its weight. The handguard is very large, and it's very front heavy, and it's just heavier than an AR. But it is a piston gun with a suppressor, and it has this cage. But performance-wise, 5 out of 5 stars, amazing. Now, so then I also went to the longer distance range where I also reviewed the Ruger SFAR. And using just this Aimpoint T2 micro red dot and a magnifier, this is an EOTech, I think it's the, what do they call it? The G, is this the G33? I know they have a couple of different ones now. I think it is. Yeah, it might be. But anyway, I took it to the range using the magnifier, and it was very accurate. I was very impressed because this is only a ×3 magnifier, and trying to hit a pistol target, which is about, you know, this big at 100 yards, I was in it. And of course, at that distance, the dot covers the whole target. Okay, so it's covering the whole target. And I was able to get a group about this with a 3x magnification, and I was impressed with that. And then at closer distances, 75, 50, and 25 yards, because I'm shooting it from the bench. I mean, we're talking this. This is a really, really cool accessory. I'm going to call it an accessory because it's not a gun. We're just reviewing the upper. I'm impressed with the quality. I'm impressed with the performance. I'm impressed with the accuracy of this. I really didn't think I would like it because I think it kind of looks a little bit goofy. The handguard's too big. You got this big cage on the suppressor. But after getting behind it, I am very impressed. Very impressed. I like this a lot. This is an amazing setup. And if this upper honestly does fit a Sig MCX, it might be worth, you know, looking at and getting one day, because that would be a cool upgrade to that MCX that I have. But yeah, this thing was awesome. What a great experience. I thought it would be okay, but then I come away going, wow, this is one awesome upper. So that was my experience with these two firearms today. So I just wanted to share those with you. So these are going into the queue. I have to go inside and edit the range footage and then write up the bullet point scripts and film the content. I still got I think I have one other thing I have to film before these, but I already have all that stuff already kind of like in the can and edited. I just got to put together the script. But anyway, that's my first impressions on the Ruger SFAR and the Sig MCX-SURG upper. So what do you guys think? Do you guys like either of these? What's your opinions on them? Which one do you like more? And also, did my experiences with these guns kind of mirror what you have experienced with them, or your thoughts on them, or what you have seen other people experience with them? So let me know in the comments section below. And if you made it to the end of this video, what can the word of the day be to let me know? We're going to say, oh, this is going to be a little bit different, because this was the ammo that ran so good in the Ruger, and it's the fusion ammo. The word of the day is fusion. So try to use that in a comment more than just saying it, and then I know you watched to the end of this video. And it means a lot to me that I don't bore you with these kind of long videos that I make. It means so much that people want to talk guns with me. It's very humbling. And I love making this content and talking to all of you guys. So there you go. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. And once again, thank you for joining me here in the garage. And I hope you learned something about these, because I know that I did today. And this is awesome. This is so much fun, and I had no idea it would be that way. So, as always, thanks for watching.